I worry that I might not be able to make my rent, my power. I worry that I might not have enough gas.
In focus tonight, the Single Parent Project. Approximately 18% of Utah children live in a single parent household. Some of those families make too much for government assistance, but not enough to thrive. Back in February, before the pandemic, we featured a fairly new nonprofit organization geared towards helping some of these families get back on their feet, the Single Parent Project. Joining us first tonight is Alissa Jones, a mother who's had firsthand experience with the organization. Lisa, thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, Lisa, first I wanted to get to know you. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your family, your children.
Sure. So I'm a single parent. I've been a single parent for about the last year and a half after experiencing some domestic violence and my husband also filing for divorce Mother's Day week. That left me with 3 children at the time. I have a now 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. At the time that at the time of father and husband left, I was 3 months pregnant, and so now we've got 4. So baby girl has joined us, and she's now a year old.
I just want to say you're an incredible woman. So I was raised by a single mother, and so I have a special place in my heart for single parents because I know it's not easy. So I appreciate you so much for sharing your story with us. What's been some of the biggest challenges you face as a single parent, or what are some of the hardest things about being a single parent?
Sure. So the everyday, you don't have a second person to be there and help carry the burden of raising the little people in your home. So from the day-to-day, the hustle of getting to school and facilitating their day, everything that goes into that. So bath time and meal time and getting off to school and whatnot, the burden is on you. You own that. And so taking care of 4 little people and making sure that they are happy and healthy and doing well is the goal, and that's hard. Mentally, emotionally, and financially, it's been a struggle for the last year and a half, and that's why I'm so glad that I found a group of women and men that understand what it's like to be a single parent, who can support one another and bring really the voice to some of us that feel unheard.
I think that community support is so important. How do you feel about how our state's government assistance is for single parents? Is enough being done to help them?
Yeah, so I certainly have had to go through the hoops and apply for different assistances at different times in this last year and a half. So certainly, there is welfare, there is DWS in the state of Utah. It has really helped us get to a place where we could take care of the basics. Food stamps for food, daycare assistance has been crucial, and certainly that helps. There is another role, I believe, that is part of the solution, and that's a partnership. It's a partnership between communities, businesses in Utah, and nonprofits. And TSPP, the Single Parent Project, really kind of brings everybody together and says, this is where the need is, what can you do about it, and we're here for you.
Looping it back to the Single Parent Project, I wanted to ask, how did you find out about them, and how has it been ever since you've connected with this organization?
Sure. So I actually learned about it from reading something that came to me in the mail, the Draper Journal. So I live in Draper, and I literally toss it away sometimes without taking a second glance. I happened to read an article that featured the Single Parent Project. I had no support group. I don't have much family other than a brother that lives in Utah. I'm from California originally. And so I didn't have the tribe that I needed, the support group or friends that experience the same things that I have been going through. And so when I read the article in the Draper Journal, I was thoroughly impressed that there even existed a group that understood what it was like to be a single parent and offer that assistance and moral support.
Real quick, we have about 30 seconds left. What do you want our viewers at home to know, or maybe if there is a single parent who's watching this that sees this, what's your message to them?
Sure. So in the great city of Utah, you know, we are all about grit and determination and helping one another. And I think it's really important to remember that you can do something in your communities. And if you see a need, fulfill the need, whether it's be your time, your money, your resources, reaching out to a group like the Single Parent Project and getting involved, whether you're a single parent yourself or you know somebody, or you'd like to help, please do. It's a great opportunity. I'm glad that I found the Single Parent Project, and there's so much that we can do.
I absolutely love your message of you don't have to be alone. There's a community here for you. Folks, you've been hearing from Lisa Jones. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight and sharing your personal experiences.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, we catch up with the Single Parent Project 8 months after we first met them. How has the pandemic impacted single parents, and what new resources are available for these families?
They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. They're drowning in debt. They're maxing out their credit card.
That was Meghann Brimhall of the Single Parent Project in an interview with us back in February, talking about some of the financial hurdles that single parents deal with when they make too much to qualify for government assistance, but not enough to thrive. Welcome back to our In Focus discussion tonight. Did you know that according to MIT, a single parent raising a child would need to make at least $25 an hour to make a livable wage? Joining us tonight to talk about the challenges that single parents face and why that prompted the start of the Single Parent Project are co-founders Meghann Brimhall and Alissa Harrod. Ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm excited to catch up with you.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here. We have absolutely loved watching you and your journey.
Oh, thank you. Meghann, I wanted to start with you. The Single Parent Project is a fairly new organization. When did the organization form, and tell me how the idea came about and what your guys' personal ties are to this?
So the Single Parent Project, you know, it came kind of to head the end of January this year. So when I was a single parent for 5 years, and I had a good support system. So for me, it was tough. There were a lot of things that were hard, but I had a great support system. I had multiple single parent friends that had no support system. So I saw that there was a need to be that support for other people, and decided that we needed to pull the trigger on a nonprofit organization. So I decided to go public with it, and Alissa was so kind and helped me, and we have just been going full force ever since.
I absolutely love that. Alissa, what is the Single Parent Project's mission? Do you know if there are any other organizations in Utah that does what you guys do?
Yeah, so the Single Parent Project aims to really help those that make too much money to get assistance on government programming. So they're not able to, they're anywhere from 30 to 60 cents over the poverty line. And so we aim to help single parent families and their children thrive through resources, advocacy, substance abuse resources, mental health groups, and anything that we can.
Meghann, what does single parenthood look like? I mean, does it even have a look, and who can be impacted?
There really isn't a face to single parents. I mean, and to break the stigma, it's not just single mothers. I feel like that's something that is always just thrown out there, is that it's a single parent, they've got to be a single mom. They're single dads too. And they could be a single parent for so many different reasons, a divorce, or maybe they're widowed, or maybe, an unplanned pregnancy. So you really can't put a face to it.
I have a follow-up question. Do you guys find that single dads maybe find it a little bit harder to reach out for help?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought so. Alissa, let's talk about the financial predicament that many single parents face. Some make too much to qualify for government assistance, but not enough to thrive. Tell me a little bit about this.
So when your previous question was about, are there any other organizations in Utah that are similar to ours? Well, there are organizations that help the ones that are under the poverty line, but there aren't many throughout the United States. As we developed this program, there really aren't a lot of organizations that help women and men being single parents and help them as a whole for their children. And then often they aren't available to help them through the process of getting off government assistance, thriving through their career, and then getting to a place of self-sufficiency. And so that's where we come in, where there's a break in the system. And so there's a gap where we come in to help restructure, strengthen the family unit as a whole, break the boundaries, and try and help with the generational poverty and issues that we see.
I love that. You guys are bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Meghann, I'm wondering, how does Utah compare to other states when it comes to single parenthood?
So you had mentioned before that there are 13.6 million single parent families across the nation. And in a national ranking, Utah is about number 26 on that list. So we're left with about 18% of children being raised by single parents in the state of Utah.
All right, about a minute left. Alissa, tell me about what resources or services that the Single Parent Project offers. I mean, you guys don't just help, right, with like the emotional support or the financial stuff. You guys actually help with quite a bit of things. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we're continuously progressing every month. Since February, we've done a lot of work in our programming. We have support groups twice a month now for both parents and the youth. We're developing a programming for youth groups as well currently. We have activities in the community for parents and their children. We've been able to take them to theater shows. You can see the pumpkin patch that we just did. We really try and provide sports for kids. A lot of these kiddos don't have access or the funds to be able to do extracurricular activities, and so we really try and provide those types of things, and then just the basics as well, so financial stability support. We do advocacy for youth dealing with IEPs or problems within school. We help the parents mediate through those situations. We've gotten about 10 women back into extra college education, so they've gotten back into school. We've gotten them scholarships or grants depending on what their needs were. We're pretty
hold that
well-rounded.
thought really quick. We have to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll continue our In Focus discussion on the Single Parent Project with Meghann and Alissa.
A lot of parents have lost the fight. They're exhausted. Right. They can't do it on their own, and sometimes they don't know what resources are out there even to begin with to research.
That was Alissa Harrod back in February, talking about the emotional, physical, and financial burdens that some single parents often face. Thanks for sticking with us for the third and final segment of tonight's In Focus discussion, the Single Parent Project. Before the break, co-founders Meghann Brimhall and Alissa Harrod joined us live in studio for a discussion about their organization. Ladies, we pick up right where we left off. Meghann, tell me about the application process. What's that like?
Our application process is all online, so you can go to thesingleparentproject.org if you need to fill out an application. It's reviewed by our board of directors, and currently right now we have a waiting list for some of our services, but we're always accepting applications.
Okay, so going off of that question, Alissa, how many applications do you guys typically receive? You guys have a waiting list, so is that because you guys need more help meeting that need, or tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, that's a resounding yes. We need help. We see on average anywhere from 5 to 15 applications a week, and currently we have a wait list of probably 100 applicants. We have raised well over $50,000 within the last 8 months, which is incredible. We've had really great supporters in the community, but we can't do it alone. We need help.
Right. When we last interviewed the Single Parent Project in February, it's been about 8 months. Right? I want to know, how has the organization grown or developed since then? We were talking about how just days after we first did that report, you guys got your 501c3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have grown tremendously. We have probably helped, I want to say, nearly 100 different families, well over 100 different families and their children. We have helped the homeless. We've done community needs drives. Coronavirus has definitely had an uptick in a lot of these different issues. And so we've had to restructure and strategize on how to really raise funds and help these families out. And so we've grown tremendously in a lot of areas like that. We've also added a lot of funding to our overall programming to help families. So we have a 6-month program to be able to help them financially, emotionally, and get them back on their feet.
So let's talk about COVID. Meghann, the last time we did a story with you guys, it was before the pandemic. Do you guys think that maybe there's a bigger need now from single parents because of that? And has the pandemic impacted your organization or the way you guys function in any way?
It's definitely, ramped up the applications that we receive. And it kind of puts single parents in a sticky situation because now that, as soon as jobs started to kind of open back up and people were able to go back to work, it was not necessarily that they were, they couldn't really qualify for their unemployment anymore, but they still were getting their hours cut because of the pandemic and people weren't at full capacity for their businesses. So our applicants are in a sticky situation where they really do need help. They are working, they're trying so hard to go out there and make money and make a living, and their hours keep getting cut back, or they lost their good paying job and they had to kind of start over. So with COVID, we definitely see a lot of need for financial assistance and emotional support. Everyone's trying to figure out how they're supposed to be a mom and a school teacher, and not knowing if schools are going to close down or stay open. That it takes a big toll on your mental health and your emotions. And it's made us kind of have to think outside the box as an organization. We've had to get creative in different ways that we can help people, and we're fortunate enough to have some other ties in the community that are willing to help these single parents if we're unable to.
Ladies, you guys have been very creative. I've been very impressed by what you guys have come up with to help these single parents. Alissa, what's next for your organization?
So many exciting things. We have sent out numerous grants and pleas for help, so we have a lot of really wonderful things in the works that way for funding. We're working on creating some different outlets for emotional support. So we will be taking on insurances and being able to do therapy. We currently contract with some outside sources, but we'll be able to bring that in-house and provide the mental health resources for the parents and their youth, their children.
Meghann, real quick, we have about 30 seconds left. How can our viewers at home help or get involved, or what kind of help do you guys need?
We always just need people to spread the word, let people know that we exist, and right now we're getting ready to do a big Christmas project. We're going to provide Christmas for as many single parents as we possibly can. So right now the current need is we need people to sponsor a family. So if that's something that they're interested in, we'd love for them to reach out to us and sponsor a family for Christmas and provide Christmas for a family that couldn't afford it on their own.
You guys are awesome. Folks, you've been hearing from Meghann Brimhall and Alissa Harrod of the Single Parent Project. Ladies, it was so great catching up with you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right, coming up on the news at 7, a live look at the downtown Salt Lake City area as Adam Carroll prepares your full forecast and has a look ahead at Halloween.